6 heads of state who did prison time. 1. Charles Taylor, President of Liberia, sentenced to 50 years for war crimes. Taylor actually began his career in the Libyan government. Then he was thrown in jail for embezzlement. So Taylor escaped and retrained as a guerrilla fighter. In 1989, he initiated a 7-year-long civil war. He executed his predecessor, Samuel Doe. Then he was elected president. Taylor's National Patriotic Front of Liberia got involved in Sierra Leone. 50,000 people were killed as a result. Then another civil war began in Liberia, fueled by Taylor's opponents. Ultimately, he was arrested in Sierra Leone. The special court in The Hague found him guilty of aiding and abetting, as well as planning some of the most heinous and brutal crimes in recorded human history. He's currently incarcerated in England. 2. Fernando Collor, President of Brazil, convicted of money laundering and corruption. Collor only served as president from 1990 to 1992. Then he was accused of corruption. He tried to stop the impeachment proceedings. This didn't work, and Collor was forced to resign. He became a senator, but this time it ended even worse. In 2015, Collor was accused of accepting bribes from the oil industry. In 2023, he was sentenced to 8 years and 10 months in prison. 3. Moshe Katsav, President of Israel, sentenced to 7 years for rape. Katsav was president between 2000 and 2007. In his last year in office, he faced allegations of sexual harassment. Then another staffer accused him of rape. Katsav rejected a plea deal and vowed to prove his innocence. Instead, the court found him guilty of 2 counts of rape. In 2011, Katsav was sentenced to 7 years. He was released on parole 5 years later. 4. Jacob Zuma, President of South Africa, sentenced to 15 months for corruption. Zuma was president between 2009 and 2018. He resigned after a vote of no confidence in parliament. The ex-president was immediately charged with corruption, but the charges date back to 1999, when he was deputy president. Zuma oversaw the biggest arms deal in South African history, but the exchange rate fluctuations made it easy to siphon off millions. Zuma's trials have been dragging on since 2018. In 2021, he was sentenced to 15 months, yet he was released for medical reasons after just 2. Then the parole was rescinded. Zuma will have to serve out the rest of his sentence. 5. Ivo Sanader, Prime Minister of Croatia, sentenced to 8 years for corruption. Sanader left his post in 2009 and immediately sought protection. He returned to his seat in parliament, which granted him immunity. However, Sanader's own party expelled him. Attempting to outrace the gathering storm, he fled. He was arrested in Austria and extradited to Croatia. Charges against him included selling electricity at a discount to favored companies. After a full decade of trials and appeals, Sanader was found guilty. In 2020, he was sentenced to 8 years. He's currently incarcerated. 6. Juan Orlando Hernandez, President of Honduras, charged with accepting bribes from drug traffickers. Hernandez is currently held in a U.S. jail. He was allegedly bought by the Sinaloa cartel. They helped him get elected. Hernandez then facilitated trafficking via Honduras. His term ended in January 2022. In February, he was arrested and extradited to the U.S.